In the new Star Wars book, Shadow of the Sith, we get some really cool moments and information. I'm going to be covering this book in parts, so if you like this kind of content, let me know. I'm going to be talking about chapters 1 through 5, so without further ado, let's get into it. We open the book with David, Miramar, and Rey, and yes, this is Rey from the sequel trilogy with her parents. She is 6 years old, traveling with them as they leave Jakku. We learn that Rey's mom is an excellent pilot, and her skills just come naturally to her. Well, her dad says it runs in the genetics. They were cruising in a ship that they were just able to scrap up enough change to buy, so it wasn't a beauty by any means, but it was good enough to get them from point A to point B. Along the travels in Wild Space, they encountered what seemed to be a group of pirates. Wild Space was a lawless region of unmapped star clusters containing dangerous worlds. The humans of the core worlds often expressed prejudice against sentient beings from Wild Space, even against fellow humans. Rey and her parents were in big trouble. They couldn't jump to hyperspace because of the damage they took. When all hope looked lost, a squadron of X-Wings belonging to the New Republic appeared, defeating the pirates. David told his wife to make the jump since they had regained the ability to do so. He didn't trust the New Republic because of his father, which was the Emperor of the Galactic Empire, and felt that put a target on his, and more importantly, his family's life. So he insisted on jumping to hyperspace to avoid this encounterment with them. But before they could do so, a New Republic ship had appeared and used its tractor beam to pull them in. They had an awkward encounterment because their ship was not properly marked and they had no form of ID, but the New Republic had no authority out in this part of space. A part of this conversation I would like to talk about that I found interesting is that David told the New Republic officer that they were being hunted by the Sith, and this went right over his head, as if the officer had never heard of the Sith. It seemed like people might have begun to forget the cult of the Sith, but regardless, the conversation leads to Rey and her parents going on about their day. We move on to Luke Skywalker on the planet of Ossus, the home of his Jedi temple. We first see this temple in The Force Awakens and later in the Book of Boba, which is so cool considering that this planet has been a part of Legends for a long time. Once the Jedi had left Tython, they had set up their main headquarters here. They were so involved with this planet that many assumed this was the home planet of the Jedi. We see him have a bit of an awkward conversation with his apprentice, Ben, as Ben refers to him as Luke, Uncle, and Master. It seems like family and Jedi training may be getting a little intertwined, causing Ben to be a little confused at moments. But Luke had another visitor from Lord Santeca, a legendary traveler and explorer. Lord Santeca is a longtime ally of the New Republic and the Resistance. After the Battle of Endor, Santeca helped Luke Skywalker recover secrets of the Jedi Lord that the Empire had tried to erase. He had some news to share with Luke, but it would be very anticlimactic compared to what Luke had to say. Luke had brought up these visions that he's been experiencing, something he had only told Lore. He wanted to attempt to meditate to induce himself in these visions with Lore present, which he did. He was surrounded by nothingness, just a black void, but it had this dark presence, a presence he had felt before when he was with the Emperor and his father, but he couldn't place his finger on it, and neither could Lore. Lore would say he's out of his depth, and Luke should be looking for someone else to help him with this mystery. Lore would go on to tell him that there's this new place being discovered that could potentially hold some valuable information for them and suggest they go check it out, which Luke agreed to as he wanted to give his mind a rest from these visions. Moving on, we are greeted with a character we got to see a lot of in the Vader comics, Ochi of Bastoon. Ochi was a humanoid alien male devotee of the Sith Order and an operative of Crimson Dawn. Since the time of the Clone Wars, Ochi was a Jedi killer and a hunter of the Sith. An associate of Imperial advisors, he was thus aligned with the acolytes of Beyond. Ochi was also a Sith assassin, always lending his skills to the most powerful, such as Sith Lords as Darth Sidious and Darth Vader, or ambitious criminal minds like Kira. We find him on this junk planet near the Inner Rim. He is hiding there with his droid, D.O. He wants to be forgotten about as he does his research that would lead him to power, a power that could only be found on Exegol, a planet he once visited before with Vader, leaving him physically scarred with burnt skin and his eyes being fried. He was repaired with cybernetics, but he wanted to be whole again. He did not want to be repaired, but rather healed. He was craving for power, which led him to search for Exegol. A search that seemed pointless. Every time he felt close, he would find himself even more lost. until a group of Sith internal cultists appeared before him, led by a woman who wore a mask that was very intimidating, a mask that altered her voice but not mechanically. It was like her voice and another person, a male, was speaking at the same time, but the male's voice could be heard in Ochi's head. He was scared and attempted to run, but he found himself in a void, a similar one as Luke found himself in. Nothingness. He felt a presence, one that felt like it was constantly lurking over his shoulder, until a voice appeared, one that was unmistakable, but left him confused because it was the voice of Emperor Palpatine. But he thought to himself it was impossible. Palpatine was dead. Palpatine spoke to Ochi, telling him that his services were needed again, that he wants him to find a girl and bring her to him on Exegol. The vision would end, leaving Ochi with a million questions, but none of which would be directly answered, as the Sith cultist leader would hand him a dagger, saying this is all he'll need to get the job done. Well, this is it. Chapters 1 through 5 broke down very briefly. Tell me what you guys think. If you like this kind of content, let me know so I can continue down this path. But until next time, may the Force be with you, always.